Wow, it's always daunting walking up here. This is my third time for International Women's Day, and to be standing in front of you on this really important day, it's incredible. Look at the energy in this room, and to come together and to celebrate everything that women is and are and do is incredible. So thanks so much for joining us. We can't do the work that we do without all of your support. So I think you all need to give yourselves a round of applause just for being here. Well done. I'd also like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and to pay my respects to elders past and present. Auntie Violet, as always, thank you for your warm welcome to country. We really do appreciate you being here with us. As you've heard, and you've probably heard on the radio and other airwaves, this year's theme is Count Her In. Invest in women to accelerate progress. We know that when women are empowered to have their own voice, their agency, and meaningful participation in economic decision-making, everyone benefits. However, we also know that with the geopolitical conflicts that surround us, the COVID pandemic, climate disasters, and economic turmoil have pushed many more people over the edge and into poverty, and the majority of them, unfortunately, are women. Some 2.4 billion women of working age are denied equal economic opportunities globally, which continues to perpetuate the cycles of poverty and exploitation. Nearly 1 in 3 adolescent girls from the poorest households worldwide have never been to school. So as we sit here today and celebrate the opportunities and access that we have and our children have, think about those who are not that far away from here, living a very different life. By 2030, more than 342 million women and girls could be living below the poverty line. It's not good enough. We know that when women are empowered to have their voice and to participate, the decisions that they make, the organisations they lead are more profitable, they're more productive, and the returns back to the community are higher. We know that we can actually halt the cycles of poverty, and the workforce productivity is boosted. Our economies grow, our families have greater security, and women and girls can better manage their healthcare, their reproductive choices, and also manage their own financial livelihoods and futures. When women are given equal opportunities to learn, to earn, and to lead, entire communities thrive. Cast your mind across to the Pacific for one moment. 75 to 90% of market vendors in the Pacific are women. The hours are long, the profits are low, and the conditions are difficult. Women travel a long way, they sleep at the side of the road, often under tables, for 3 to 4 days, and they're exposed to risks of violence and threats of theft. Through UN Women's programs and Market for Change, in collaboration with local stallholders and business organisations, we've actually been able to invest money in creating sleeping domes and areas where women who are attending the markets to live and develop their own livelihoods can stay safe, not sleeping under tables, to ensure their own safety and security. It's an important initiative. It sounds incredibly simple, but the barriers that women face beyond the shores of Australia are even far greater than the ones that we consider to rally against every day. Markets for Change creates opportunities for women, education and networks, a way for women to gain their own independence and build a sustainable future for them and their own families. And that's why investing in women is so important. So when you hear the call today, you'll hear a lot about investment, and that means each and every one of you. Because today is also about raising funds for UN Women's work. I know a lot of you in the room are our corporate sponsors and partners, your donors and supporters. But when you think about the power that you have in your hands to literally change a woman's life today, give and give again and give till it hurts. I promise you it won't. In Australia, we have some of the most educated women. We heard Georgie speak about the levels of attainment, but somehow they're not translating to the same data and statistics for women. Nearly 10% of the differing wealth outcomes for men and women in this country can be attributed to gender. Add to that the compounding impacts of the burden of care, unaffordable childcare, and unfortunately some gender stereotypes, negative ones at that, contribute to undermine and reinforce the gender pay gap. It's calculated that that costs somewhere near $52 billion to our economy. But also spare a thought for marginalised groups, including First Nations women, immigrants, refugees, LGBTQI+ individuals, and the barriers that they face every day in inclusion and in economic empowerment. For Indigenous women in this country, they experience higher rates of unemployment and lower levels of education compared to their non-Indigenous counterparts. Women like Stacey. Stacey moved to Sydney from Western New South Wales after she'd become homeless with her three boys. She was interested in doing a diploma of counselling and began her studies. Then COVID hit, and like a lot of us, her plans had to be shelved. But while she was waiting, she found out she was pregnant with her fourth child and really was looking at how she could then ensure the sustainability of her young family. Her daughter was born, and Stacey found out that she was born with Down syndrome, and at that point, Stacey was near breaking point. But then she reached out to an amazing group who are with us here today, so please, in the breaks, come up and say hello. The team from Real Futures and our partners in Second Chance Education and the Second Chance Hub program. Because what those amazing women do every day is that they work with local women in the community to ensure that they have a second chance, a chance that sometimes they missed out on. And it's a really important job, a really important role, and I encourage you to support all the work that they do because it really does make a difference. The women at the Hub helped Stacey with things as basic as a pram, car seats, clothes. But really importantly, they also encouraged her to keep going, to keep studying, and to finish her counselling studies. I'm really happy to say that Stacey has since completed a diploma through her work and support from the Hub, and she started her own business and just got her first NDIS client. So if you think about investment, that's what it's about. When we talk about investing in women, spare a moment for refugee women, women like Chantal Moussad, who, through our partnership with the University of Sydney Business School, is part of the MBA scholarship program. And again, I'm delighted to welcome to the room this morning some current recipients of the USyd and UN Women MBA graduate scholarships. Again, if you get a chance, have a chat to them. They are incredible women. But to share with you Chantal's story, at 10 years old, her family moved from France into Syria. She learnt a new language, she was very good at school, and she had every access to opportunity in education. But rather than study medicine or law, she was encouraged, or wanted to rather, study economics. She thought that was going to be difficult as a woman in Iran, but her greatest challenges were yet to come. After conflict erupted, unfortunately, Chantal's twins were born prematurely and died 15 days after they were born in Syria's war-torn hospitals. But out of that adversity, Chantal was more and more determined that she would create a better life for her daughter. And shortly after the birth, she relocated to Iraq and continued her career in banking. But while she was in Iraq, she divorced from her husband and became persona non grata in her community. So the option that was left to her was to leave the country with her young daughter and start afresh. And so without limitation, she wanted to have the freedom, and so she applied to come to Australia. Chantal reflects that people were often surprised and asked her if she experienced culture shock. They were surprised by the fact that she was qualified, she was well educated, and that she was entirely committed to Australia and the opportunities that were afforded to her as a refugee woman coming into Australia. Interestingly, Chantal said, "I didn't get this scholarship because I was the smartest or most educated, but because of what I've achieved and what I want to achieve. My story and my dream." And this is a call out to all of us. It's not enough just to talk about gender equality. You need to advocate for women, for refugees, for Aboriginal people, and anyone who does not have equal opportunity. So when you leave here today, think of those people that you can help lift up and empower. Stories like Chantal are one of the many reasons why we ask people to invest in women. We know that economic investment in women makes sense. It's not only the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. On every level, across every country, every region, across the globe, in our region and right here in Australia. In closing, I get access to doing a lot of really great stuff in this job, I have to tell you. And I had the opportunity last week to sit with Michelle Bullock, the Reserve Bank Governor of Australia, the first woman to hold that role in this somewhat 64 years of its history. Michelle is acutely aware of the importance of investment, the importance of strong economies and decision-making, and quite frankly is in the hot seat around ensuring that Australia as an economy continues to thrive and prosper. It was wonderful to have some time to sit with Michelle. Unfortunately, she couldn't be with us here today, but to talk to her about why it's important to invest in women, why every decision is an economic decision, and I hope you enjoy our conversation today. Thanks for joining us.